Okay, today we'll continue our journey with the basics of CSS and we'll specifically talk about the CSS Box Model. So what is the box model exactly? Well, as we've learned lately, every single element on your page has some kind of dimensions, like width and height. But actually, every single element is more complicated in terms of dimensions than just width and height. Okay, just bring that here. Okay, so this little thing you see right here, and it's currently being selected for our Back to the Future header, is the box model of our H1 element. So every element contains a set of 4 boxes, okay? And going from the most inner, this is the content itself. So this is what's inside your element, okay? Then there are 3 other boxes going from the inside out. Great movie, by the way. Fantastic movie. You should watch it. Go and watch it now. Okay, so we have the padding, the border, and the margin. And the padding is the space between the, well, let's go from the outer. The margin is the space that pushes your element from other elements, okay? So if I'd like to push Back to the Future a little bit from the left side, I can go here and say margin left 24 pixels, margin, okay, now it's wrong, okay, and you can see that it has 24 pixels here now, okay. So this is pushing your element from the other elements, okay. Then there's the border, which is in the middle, okay, between the margin and the padding, and we can specify with one line saying 5 pixels. This is the width of the border. Solid, this is the type, and by default it's going to be black, but we can change it to yellow. Okay, now as you can see, there's this little arrow right here, so I can click on it, and I can see that this one-liner actually results in a whole lot of elements. There's border top, there's border right, left, border left color, so I can play a little bit with it, oops, sorry, and change it, saying border top width is 12 pixels, okay, and border top color is red, okay. So I can change every single direction of my border to be styled differently. Okay, and then there's padding, and the padding is this space that pushes your content further away from the border. So now you can see that this Back to the Future is sticking next to the left side of the border, but I can do padding left 16 pixels to push it farther away from the border, okay. And this is one of the properties that has this cool syntax, because well, I'm saying the margin, the border, and the padding, of course, because I can specify padding left, but I can also say just padding 16 pixels, and now it's being applied, as you can see, to the top, right, bottom, and left. But if I say 16 pixels, 8 pixels, now you can see that the first value is being applied to the top and bottom, and that the 8 value, 8 pixels, is being applied to left and right. I can go even further and say something like this, and now the first value is being applied to the top, the second is being applied to left and right, and the third is being applied to the bottom. Can we go further? Well, why not? We can tell something like that. And now you can see that these values are being applied as if you were going with the clockwise direction. Okay, so the first value is top, right, bottom, and left. Okay, and of course we see our friend, the little arrow right here. I can click on it and actually see that it's padding top, padding right, padding bottom, and where is the left? There should be left here. I don't know why it's not there. Let's clear it out. Oh yeah, because we had the padding left value. Now we can see that the padding left is actually here at the bottom. The same goes for margin. Okay, so I can specify that the margin, just if I could just I can specify that the margin is 8 pixels for each and every single value, as you can see. And then if I'd like to override one of those, I just say, well, it's margin for 8 for every direction, but change the margin left to be 16. Okay? Nice. So as you can see, these values can be changed independently, and you actually have to remember what each and single of those do. So the margin pushes the content, pushes your element further away from other elements. Border is, well, you know, just a border around your element, and the padding is pushing the content out of the border. Okay, and this is the basics of box model in CSS. And actually, we can use this knowledge to change our site a little bit. First thing is, I don't like it being stuck to the left side of our page. So I can go here and say that the margin is 0, so it's 0 for top and bottom, and so-called auto value for left and right. And if my assumptions are right, yeah, this will push our content to the middle. So now you can see that with the auto value for the left and right, the value is auto calculated, and so it's the whole space is being divided. Yeah, we know that our div will take 50%, and the rest is being spread across the margin. So now our whole content of our site is being pushed into the middle. Okay, well, not exactly what I wanted, because I can see all the P and H1 and H4 elements still being close to the left side, and I want them to be in the middle of the middle, so to say. And I can change it by using this cool property called text align center. Okay, and now they are actually in the middle, so that's great. Okay, what else? There are two more things that I would like to discuss. We're good on time, so that's good. The display. First, you can see that everything is going from top to bottom except for those links. Okay, so let's see what is this about. Let me just check with this. Yeah, okay, so here everything is going as expected from left to right, from top to bottom, and each and single element is in a new line. And this is because of the display value. And if I go to the H1 element, I can see that the display value is block. Okay? And now if I go here, I can see that this element is inline. Okay? So the inline elements tend to flow in a horizontal line, while the block elements by default are each and single one is being given a new line. Okay, so if I change for my A element, which is inline, if I change display to block, one thing that I see is now it has auto and auto content values, but if I change it to block, I can see that the browser is actually correctly calculating the value of the width and height. So inline element doesn't have calculated width and height by default, and they try to flow in one line next to each other. But I can change them to block to actually have a proper dimensions calculated, and thus being flown from one inline. Okay, so let's do just that. This should be easy. I will take the A selector and I will change display to block. Alright, now it flows properly. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about other selectors. This is the simplest one, but this selector actually has a big problem, because when I change the color of the P element, every single one element that is the paragraph element on our page will change its styling. And I don't want that. For example, I would like this element to actually have bigger font and different color than this one. Okay, and here comes two other selectors that you can use. One is ID, and ID starts with hash and should be unique across your site. So there should be only one given ID selector, only one element with given ID on your site. For example, first paragraph. Okay, and I can say color should be blue, and font size let's say 25 pixels. Okay, and now if I go here, nothing happens. Why is that? Well, I created an ID selector, but I didn't use it at all. So to use it, I have to specify attribute of ID and with proper name, the same as in the CSS. And now it's being applied correctly to this HTML element. Boom, working. Fantastic. Okay, let's go further down the road. What if I would like to style some repeating elements? For example, I would like to style 3 of those list items, but not the third one. So I can use the ID because it's not unique. But thankfully, there is a different selector called class, and it starts with that. And I can just tell this is list item. Now it's working. So cool list item. Okay. And I would like to add, I don't know, something nice, something funny. So let's do background color. Just change it to something nice. Should be able to, oh no, I can use RGB. Okay, to get something like that, and maybe tweak it a little bit to see the color picker just hover over the RGB values for a second, and you should get this nice thing. Okay, of course I have to apply it, and to apply it to my element I use class attribute, and I say so cool list item. Okay, and now I can just do this and apply it everywhere. I copied too much, sorry. Okay, no, here. I'm using Vim. I try to use Vim. Okay, let's just, but I'm not so good at it yet. Okay, let's just copy this. No, it's not being copied. See me struggling.
A few moments later.
Okay, that was crazy. Oh, I didn't want this to be in the last element. Okay, just to see the difference. Okay, so I have class applied to all 3 elements, and now, yep, 3 of them will change properly while the last one won't. And I don't use IDs, to be honest. I just stick to classes for the most part of my time. There are also other selectors like pseudo, I don't know how to say it in English, selectors, but one of these, which is cool, is actually hover, and this class is being applied while you hover over an element. So I will change my cursor to being pointer and maybe the color to be pink. So now if someone hovers over a element, this hover selector is going to get applied, okay? And it will change the color. Where is it? It will change a color. It won't change a color. Why is that? Why is that? Hey, hover. It should work. I didn't save something. Oh, I didn't reload, of course. Yeah, oh, silly me. Okay, now you can see that if I hover on the element, it will change its color. Interestingly enough, if I hover here, it will also change a color, and this is due to the fact that this element is changing, has its content being spread further, okay, than the actual sentence, okay. So the element doesn't go from here to here, but it's way wider, okay. There are of course other selectors, and if you go to MDN CSS Selectors here, you can see that there are many possibilities to use many selectors, like first, focus, pseudo selectors, class, universal, using the attribute selector, for example, A with a title, or for example, A with, well, we can do this, I believe. It's a little stretch, but let's do that. Okay, so for example, I have input with the attribute text, and I would like to change CSS class based on the attribute of a given element. So to do this real quick, I can just say input, then let me check the syntax. Attribute is type and equals to text, and I would like to change the color to, help me out here, yellow green. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and now I can see that the text for that element with that specific attribute has changed. But for example, this color, okay, stays the same. So just to prove to you that this is working, okay, now both inputs have green text, but now if I specify the attribute correctly, only the one with the proper attribute changes its text value. Woo! Okay, I believe this is mostly it about the basics of CSS. We still have a long way to learn about JavaScript and creating layouts with Flex, but we'll get there when we'll get there. So I'll see you in the next one when we'll be talking about JavaScript, very basics of JavaScript. Okay, bye.